Pharaoh was scared. The Hebrew people enslaved in Egypt were growing in number. He feared their strength. He feared their potential to rise against him. His solution, a cruel and heartless decree. Every Hebrew boy born would be thrown into the Nile River. The Nile, the lifeblood of Egypt, would become a watery grave for innocent infants. Fear gripped the hearts of the Israelites. Mothers wept, families prayed. Hope seemed to dwindle with each passing day. Amid this terror, a baby boy was born. He was strong and healthy, a beacon of hope in a time of despair. His mother, Jochebed, looked upon him with love and fear. She knew of Pharaoh's decree, she knew the danger he was in, but she also clung to her faith. She believed in a God who was bigger than Pharaoh, a God who could save her son. Jochebed hid her baby for 3 long months. Every cry could be a death sentence. Every knock on the door could bring soldiers, but she held on to hope, trusting in God's protection. As the days turned into weeks, Jochebed devised a daring plan. She wove a basket, coating it with tar and pitch to make it watertight. This would be her precious son's ark, his only hope for survival. One morning, with a heavy heart but unwavering faith, Jochebed carried her baby to the Nile. She placed him gently in the basket, a tiny babe entrusted to the vastness of the river. Her heart ached as she kissed his forehead, whispering a prayer for his safety. She then instructed her daughter, Miriam, to watch the basket from afar. Miriam, a young girl, stood by the riverbank, her heart pounding with fear and hope, watching over her baby brother. That very day, Pharaoh's daughter came down to the Nile to bathe. She was attended by her handmaidens, their laughter echoing along the riverbank. Suddenly, a strange sight caught the princess's eye, a basket bobbing gently amongst the reeds. Curious, she ordered her handmaidens to retrieve it. As the basket was brought closer, the princess heard a faint cry. Peeking inside, she found a baby boy, crying softly. His skin was smooth, his features delicate. The princess knew instantly that this was no ordinary child. This was a Hebrew baby, one of those condemned to die by her own father's decree. But instead of fear or revulsion, the princess felt a strange sense of compassion. She saw the fear in the baby's eyes and in that moment decided to defy her father and save this child's life. Miriam, watching from afar, saw her opportunity. She approached the princess timidly and asked, "Shall I go and get one of the Hebrew women to nurse the child for you?" The princess, touched by the young girl's concern, agreed. Miriam ran swiftly to her mother, her heart overflowing with joy and relief. Jochebed, guided by God's unseen hand, returned to the riverbank. She was presented to the princess and entrusted with the care of her own son. The princess named the baby Moses, meaning drawn out of water. She had no idea how prophetic that name would be. She raised Moses as her own in the very palace where he was meant to die. Jochebed, despite her initial fears, was able to be his nurse, nurturing him with love and teaching him about the God of their fathers. Moses grew up in the lap of luxury, surrounded by the splendor and wealth of the Egyptian court. He received the finest education, learned the art of war and leadership. But despite his privileged upbringing, Moses never forgot his Hebrew heritage. The stories whispered by his mother, the silent prayers of his people, remained etched in his heart. God, in his infinite wisdom, had orchestrated a miraculous rescue. He had placed Moses in a position of power, preparing him for a destiny far greater than anyone could have imagined. The palace, meant to be his grave, became the very place where he was nurtured and prepared for his future role as the deliverer of his people. The boy who was saved from death in the Nile would one day lead his people to freedom, guided by the very God who had preserved his life.